What's up everyone? So today we are going to look into dynamic nodes. In the previous video I covered function node. In this video we will revisit function node and I will convert the function node into dynamic node, and you will see what are the differences between function node and dynamic node, and what are the features offered by dynamic nodes over function node. Alright, so let's get started. First I'm going to create a template for my snippet. We will be creating a snippet for a function that includes a document. All right, let's get started. We'll call this function template, and value is going to be a string. We can define a function like this in Lua. We have a name, we could have params, and we have an end tag. Then we have a function body like this, and document includes a comment, and we can describe the function. So this does something like this. Then we can define parameters we have defined in this function. So param, the name of the param is param, and the type of the param I'll just put any, and we are going to define what this param is. So this is a param. Copilot is auto completing everything for me. All right, so this is the template, and we don't have any placeholders yet. So let's create the snippet. Trigger character is II, and we will be doing FMT, and let's pass in the template, function template, this one right here, and we will add some nodes here. Alright, so first one could be a input tag, right, because this is something user will change. So add the placeholder, and it's going to be a insert node. I'll just add the index 1. This does some function. I think this is good enough. Then the second placeholder is going to be this one right here. Let's do this. If you don't have any parameters, we shouldn't have any empty spaces, right? So I'll just get rid of this line right here, and I will add a placeholder right next to the function description. All right, so let's head back here. This is going to be a function node instead of a insert node, because this is something we are going to auto generate. So we should have a function that takes values of the dependencies. Then we have function body. I'll just print values first. I think this is good enough. Then we can have our dependencies, which I'm going to add them later. Okay, next, the name of the function is a placeholder, right? So it's going to be a insert node. The jump index is 2, and this is going to be the name of the function. All right, then we could have parameters. Once again, it's going to be a insert node, and this time I'll just remove the default value. All right, once again we have function body, another placeholder, and it's going to look something like this. All right, let's try this. Actually, I'm going to open up another terminal window here, and I can refresh all my snippets. Hopefully this will work. Okay, there we go. I'll jump to parameters, and when I type, actually I forgot to add dependencies. All right, so we need to update the documents when we are typing, or rather as you're typing the parameters, right? So we need to find the jump index of the parameters. So first one, we have the function description. Second, we have a functional node, so there's no jump index. This is the second one, the function name, and third one is the parameters. So I will add 3 here. At jump in index 3 we have the parameter dependency. All right, now let's try this one more time. Hopefully it will work. There we go. Whatever the hell we are typing, it's going to print it. That's what we need basically at this moment. Alright, so we are getting the values, right? We are printing the values here. Alright, now when I return something, as I mentioned in the previous video, if you have a text here, it's going to be added in the placeholder. The placeholder of the function node is this one right here. So when I do this, you can see the text I have written is automatically added. Now we can generate this text dynamically. That's the whole point of function node. So let's do that. Alright, first I'm going to get the parameters from the values variable. So param str, because we are getting as string values, first index of the first array and first index of the second array inside that. Alright, so now we have the value, but we have to split it by comma, because we have to separate multiple parameters if we have multiple parameters. Looks good. I'll just print this out. Actually, let's use vim print params. Now if we have a space here, you can see it's automatically being added to the value as well. That's something we don't need. So what I'm going to do is I will just param str. I'll just get rid of all the spaces. So replace all the spaces by empty space, empty character. Then we are going to split everything by comma, so we will have our parameters, parameter names rather. Alright, this is cool. Now we need to generate the text that we need to include in our document. So for that, let's do a for loop, params, and I'm going to iterate this. Index is something we don't need. First value is going to be param, or rather the second variable is param. Okay, now we need to generate a text, right, or rather multiple lines. So to capture all the lines, I'll just create a table, I guess. Doc comments. Okay, this is going to be table. Here I'll do table insert documents. Then okay, I'm just going to hit tab here. So the value is going to be double dash for a comment, param, and we should include the parameter name, right? So we have the parameter name, and I'll just add any as the type of the parameter, then some description. So user will see this and he will know, the user will know that user should update this particular placeholder, even though this is just a string. Alright, so I think this is good enough. And finally, what we need to do is return this table from the function node. So let's do doc comment, and let's try this snippet. Okay, test, we have the value right here, and test2, there we go. We have to make a new line right here. So for that I'm just going to add a new line right here. Just empty characters, we'll add a new line. So as you can see, even though we don't have any parameters, it's going to add that document. So that's something we need to handle. that, I'll just go here and I'll just check if param str is empty or not. If it is empty, then I'm just going to return empty string. Yep, this will do. Once again, okay, we don't have any parameter annotations in the document, but when we add a parameter, it's going to automatically generate that particular statement. So we have param test, any, and some description. I'm going to jump to the next placeholder. Control I is my keybind. It will jump to the function body. If I hit one more time, it will just go to the end of the function. That's the last jump point we have. So if you want to edit these text, any or some description, you will have to manually navigate your cursor there and select delete it and add some new text there. Say you want to make this a string. That's something, some manual work, right? So that's a one limitation in function node. It's just going to generate some text. It cannot generate a snippet, let's say something you can jump into and edit. So that's how you would create this snippet using function node. And right now we are going to convert this into a dynamic node. Alright, so what are we going to change? I'll just get rid of everything from here, and this is a dynamic node, so just D, because I have defined that variable right here, D for dynamic node. And yeah, everything looks good, I think. Alright, let's try this one more time using dynamic nodes. Let's see what are the features we can add on top of the functional node. Alright, so basically we are getting parameters, and if there is no parameter, then we are going to return just a simple empty string. That's not going to work with dynamic nodes. In dynamic nodes, you always have to return a snippet node, something called a snippet node. Now if you look at this line right here, I have a send for a snippet node. That's not a snippet. A snippet is something that has a trigger character. You know, when you hit that trigger character and expand, it will expand into that snippet. But snippet node is something you can nest inside, you know, a snippet. I hope you get the idea. Alright, so now let's do return a snippet node, right? Sn, you can just add 1 as the jump character, or nil if you don't, it doesn't matter, you know. If this is the only node we have, then the jump order doesn't really matter. So I can just add nil or 1 here, and we can add a node to return to. I'll just add a empty text node inside this thing. Okay, something is wrong. I think we should have, yeah, there we go. So we are basically returning a empty string, or rather snippet that contains a empty string when we don't have any parameters. Alright, next what we are going to do is we are going to handle the parameters documents when we have parameters. Okay, I'll just create a new variable called nodes, and that's going to be an array or a table, and we're going to iterate parameters. So params, I think index is useful, so I'll store index, and this is the param name. I'll just call it param. Now here I'm going to table insert into nodes table, and what we are going to add that to that table is a snippet node. So sn, the jump index, I'm going to take it from the iterator index, Actually the copilot is annoying, so I'll just disable the copilot. Alright, so we have a jump index, and here we can include multiple nodes. Alright, so what I'm actually not multiple nodes, just one FMT node is going to be good enough. So here we are going to define the template at param, and here there should be a placeholder for the parameter name. After that we have another placeholder that can be edited by the user, that's the parameter type, and another placeholder for the parameter description. Alright, so in the curly braces, within the curly braces, we are going to pass in the nodes, actual nodes that should be replaced these placeholders. Alright, so first one is going to be a text node, because that's just the parameter name that we already know. So param, there's no jump index for text nodes. So the second placeholder is going to be the parameter type, so I'll just pass in any, and this is the default value, by the way. If you have watched my insert node video, you already know that. Then the third placeholder is the description. Yeah, I think this is good enough. This looks good. I think I'll just return a snippet node. As I said previously, you always have to return a snippet node from a dynamic node callback function, like we have done here. Now we have snippet nodes inside snippet node, but the root value should be a snippet node. So here I'm creating another snippet node. I can just pass in nil because the index really doesn't matter. And here I'm going to include nodes. I think this looks good, but let's try. We are getting an error. Okay, when I'm converting the function node into dynamic node, I forgot to add a jump index to dynamic node. So here I have to add a jump index, because dynamic node is something you can jump into, unlike function node. Here I'm going to add 5 because that's going to be the last jump point we are going to jump into. Alright, so let's try this again. Okay, we have this text right here. We can edit name and parameters. Let's try something. Param. Okay, we have to add a new line, but we get the text. Let's add another text. Once again, we have to add new lines, but we get the text. First of all, let's just add some new lines here. \n would do, I think. Actually, I think I have to add new line twice. I don't know why, but I think I had to add new line twice. Let's try this again. I have to refresh all these snippets. Test 1, there we go. Test 2, test 3. Okay, now here I'm going to hit Ctrl I to jump to, actually that's my keybind, so use your jump to next placeholder keybind. So I will hit this one more time, and as you can see, it jumps to the function type, sorry, parameter type in the document comment. So here I can just make this a string, for example, and I can make this your name, for instance. And once again, I'm going to jump to the next placeholder, and it will highlight any in the second line. So in the for the second parameter, we are going to add a type number. Once again, description, I'll just make it age. Once again, when we jump, it will highlight the next parameter. You get the idea, right? So compared to function node, in function node it's going to be a literal text that's something you cannot jump into, or rather editable using LuaSnip. You can manually go there, edit that, but not something you can control through LuaSnip. But here, using dynamic node, you can just add new nodes dynamically based on some other text that you have written in your code. So that's the whole idea of dynamic nodes, and it's really flexible, and you can combine tree sitter and LSP stuff and many other, even just simple string operations like this to make really creative snippets using LuaSnip. So that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.